Okay, so I'm chatting to Zia about driving, and obviously he's at that age where he wants to learn to drive, and he wants to. The conversation is around you're going to have to learn the rules of the road, and obviously this car is automatic, so the driving lessons for me right now is going to be around how to control a car, how to be on the brakes, getting those little things trained into him, checking blind spots, when to pull up your handbrake, stuff like that. And it actually occurred to me that there's a whole lot of drivers on the road that shouldn't actually be on the road. Let me explain. You've never owned a car, you've never went for a driving lesson, your daddy didn't own a car, you didn't have access to a car, right? So now you're working and you have an income. So now you're telling yourself, part of this whole growth process is that you must have a car. Cool. So what do? Do you buy the learner's book and study that whole book from back to back like we did it in the past, where you had to learn every single rule of the road and memorize it because you didn't know what the learner's test looked like? And you ended up learning the type of road signs. You ended up learning right of way in a circle, what to do at a four-way stop, what to do when the robots don't work. You had to learn all those extra rules, where the indicator on your car is and the wiper, how the controls look. That is all stuff that you had to learn and memorize. How far to park from a bridge, a fire hydrant, when the obstruction on the road and the obstruction is on the left, the car coming from the left has to give right of way to cars coming on the right. What is it when it's a solid line, when it's two solid lines with a broken line in the middle? That is all the things you had to learn and memorize in your learners through the book. And then when you go and write and you pass that learners, you had to cut out that two little L's on the back cover and you could paste that L on the back window. You are now a learner. Then you had to drive next to somebody for 18 months, at least a year, before you can go and make your appointment to have your driver's license. And you used to ask every uncle and auntie and anybody with a car, neighbor, used to walk around with the learners in your pocket because you would never know when to have an opportunity to drive next to somebody. And the process between writing your learners and getting your drivers is usually a year. But in today's world, and this is a big challenge for me, you go for to learners classes. They give you 3 booklets. Option A, B or C. That's the only 3 options that come up in the test. And instead of you learning the rules of the road, you learn the order at which the questions come in. So now you're learning A, B, C, E, A, C, and you memorize at learners classes. Let me tell you, for those that went, they'll know. But for those that don't know, learners classes is essentially a parrot learning the order of the letters that comes in. And then there's driving schools that even know which traffic department uses which test. So they give you 1 test to learn. They don't cover the rules of the road. They don't cover things like how to approach a traffic circle, what to do when you're in a traffic circle if there's 2 lanes. They don't do none of that. All they do is give you the little booklet and they tell you to memorize those 150 questions. Then you go and write your learners. Now bear in mind, you already have the money to buy a car and you are ready to go. In your mind, you're ready to go. Okay, so now you got your learners. The 150 questions, you got a perfect score. So in your mind, you passed your learners, and in the eyes of the law, you passed your learners. But me, another user on the road, can quickly see that your learners was done via a driving school. Because you want to stop in a traffic circle, you want to go to the second exit of the traffic circle, but you are in the outside lane of the traffic circle. You don't know how to approach a four-way stop. You don't know how to merge traffic. You're merging into the freeway, and instead of speeding up and matching the speed of the road, like the learner's book says, you slow down. Okay, you passed your learners. the same day you make your appointment for your driving school, for your driver's license. Okay? It's 3 months away. Now, you go and take your 1,500 or your 2.5 or whatever these driving schools charge now for 10 lessons. And the very next day, you start your driving lessons. Those driving school instructors take you on the route or very close to the route that the traffic cop is gonna take you when you pass out. This is another parrot learning step by step what needs to do, and not building experience and not building knowledge. So now you already have a broken or incomplete understanding of the rules of the road, and now there's somebody that is teaching you within 10 or 15 lessons how to drive. So it teaches you, check your blind spot, mirror, blind spot, release your clutch. They've got dedicated parking areas where they teach you how to park. You've got no understanding. Anyway, you go through your 15 lessons and now you can drive. So now you go in to get your appointment, and lo and behold, you pass. You've done it exactly the way the driving instructor tells you to do. Can you guys see the problem here? Us as old drivers, we needed a year experience before we could even go and make our appointment. We were driving in real world situations. Now you have this driver, she's driving or he's driving a brand new Polo that he bought with very limited knowledge of the rules of the road, and even more limited knowledge on the actual driving on the roads with other drivers. So you know your pre-trip inspection. Within 2 months you forgot it. You remember something about the traffic circle in the learner's test, but you got your license. And now we as experienced drivers that went through the old way of doing it, we have to put up with you inexperienced drivers on the road that didn't even memorize their learners. Now you multiply that by 5 years, by 10 years, and you wonder why the state of the roads are the way the state of the roads are. We are driving with entitled drivers. You get some ladies that want the right of way purely because they're a lady, not because the rules of the road are saying they must have a right of way. You have guys that feel, but I've got my drivers. But you ask them, why is the traffic sign brown? Or what is the blue 50 sign that you see on the freeway? What does it mean? They didn't ask that in the learners, so they didn't teach you that in your learners. So that's my rant. And that's the reason why I'm not going to send Isaiah, this little man. I'm not going to send Isaiah for learners classes or drivers classes, because I'm going to teach my child how to drive. And while he's driving, he's going to learn and his learner's book, when he sees a blue or a green sign, he's going to know what it means. He's going to know what the little yellow letter and number combination on the left of the green sign is. What does that mean? So that when I say take the M25 north, he's going to know how to read that sign. So maybe you guys want to take that advice or not, or maybe you want to agree with me, maybe you want to disagree with me. If you guys want to comment, feel free to comment. But that is my rant on drivers and inexperienced licensed drivers. It's weird. Let me know what you think.